Good evening, everyone. From the select board are meetings in the public, not of the public. Members of the public must be acknowledged by the chair before speaking and state their name for the record. I will call the meeting to order, and do I have a motion to approve or edit the agenda?
Second. Yeah, there's no extra people. There you go.
All right, all in favor? And tonight we, as you can see, we're down 2 select board members. And so the 3 of us will pull it together and have a wonderful meeting here. And tonight we have no appointments. And is there any public comment? All right, we're going to move into the 2026. That will be at the end of the
The
meeting.
last item on the agenda tonight.
Last item on the agenda, and people will have 3 minutes to speak. So we'll move on to the budget informational discussion
Okay,
for town meeting.
so last meeting, because this is the mandatory budget informational. Last time I just read the informational to the audience. So we'll try to take a different tack this year. So so the budget is an increase of 2.09 over last year. And last year's tax rate was 0.822 and now it's 0.840. So a couple things that make up the changes in the budget this year. There's a $10,000 increase in salt, which this year it's actually worked, there's a salt shortage, as you probably have all heard. So we're using some chloride. So if you see like stripes in the road, that's what we're doing. And we have bought some salt and, but we're paying, our contract can't be fully filled because there's a salt shortage. So we have actually been buying some full price from other contractors. Our last contractor that we hired, we got some from, drove to Boston. So there's also a reduction in our contribution to our share of FEMA damages. So currently what we're saving for is Sugar Hill. There's a massive culvert there, as you're aware, that we're on the hook for 12.5%. So what we're doing is we should be able to pay off our share of that, half in this budget and half in the next budget. So has dropped because we paid off Pinello Bridge, we paid off all of our July 2023 floods. We're just left with the flood expense of December 2023. $25,000 increase to our gravel budget. $5,000 increase to our capital fire equipment fund, $7,800 increase to the law enforcement budget. Currently, we currently receive 36 hours per week, and this budget would just move us to 38 hours per week. We will also this year receive, this fiscal year, which starts in July, we'll receive our last payment from the town of Royalton for our share of the transfer station. So that's a $54,560 revenue that we're going to lose. So in order to counteract that loss, we have reduced the appropriation to the capital improvement fund by $27,280. And our plan is to do that again in FY 27-28. We feel comfortable doing that because currently the capital improvement fund has over $330,000. We will be using some of that money to pay for a salt shed and a pole barn at the town garage. And then of course we will be bonding for a new town garage. But we're trying to build these things first so that when the garage is torn down, we have a place for people to store equipment and for our guys to work out of. Other capital funds, that funding was reduced again this year with the recreation facility improvement fund and the conservation fund. The recreation fund currently has over $74,000 in money for it, in the fund for repairs or grant matches. There's currently not a planned project in front of the select board, so they're just not funding it this year. Obviously, we've had some increase in expenses and we've lost a big revenue. So we're also waiting, the select board is waiting for the planning commission to do a survey, updating town plan. They're in the midst of doing one where they're interviewing over 100 people. So we're anxious to see the result of those. So once the a plan for a specific project is in place, the select board could restart the appropriations, as the budget allows. The conservation fund has over $11,000, so the select board reduced their request from 2,500 to 1,500 also again this year. Just money's tight, everybody knows it. There's a $10,000 increase in human service appropriations this year. The increases are to Central Vermont Council on Aging, Bethel Youth Sports, Orange County Parent-Child Center, the Art Bus, and Health Hub. The Bethel Library and the food shelf are in the budget for 10% less than what they requested. The library has over $300,000 in funding. They also have the ability to fundraise. And the Bethel food shelf has over a year's worth of expenses in a reserve fund. So the select board felt the food shelf could probably fundraise $3,000 and the library could probably fundraise $3,500. Again, we're trying to find money everywhere. The other thing, people that we need to focus on that we don't always talk about, we talk about at select board meetings, but maybe not in town report, is that we need to focus on future budgets and future expenses. Things are coming down the pike. And there's currently 3 articles on the warning requesting to transfer money from undesignated fund balance. So we need to purchase a new grader. That's over 20 years old. That is a nut that we have not been able to crack. It's about $425,000. And so that's one of the articles on the warning. The other one is a containment unit for filling air bottles at the fire station. That is a requirement from our insurance company. Currently, they fill the bottles for their SCBA units for self-contained breathing apparatus, and there's not a cage over it. So we don't need to have anyone injured or, an explosion, or we just don't need to put a bottle through the roof of the fire station. So we need to deal with that. And that's a $60,000 to $80,000 expense. We also need some money to outfit the new fire truck that will be arriving, hopefully anytime now. I know the chief is looking into that. I want to explain there may be a little bit of miscommunication about that. So there is some money. We're asking for undesignated fund money for the grader, for the containment unit, and for the fire truck. So to be 100% clear, we were made whole by the state of Vermont. We got a new fire truck that hopefully shows up in March or April. We also bought a used fire truck. So anything that was destroyed, damaged, etc., on the fire truck that was totaled on the interstate, we did receive value for that from our insurance company. But what we had to do is utilize some of that equipment to outfit the used fire truck that we bought. So just so everybody is clear, we were made whole. The state, ended up paying for, this is over a $600,000 fire truck that we have no money invested in. So just so everybody wanted to make sure I was super clear about that. We expect to hold a bond vote in 2026 to build a new town garage. If you visit our garage, you know the building has outlived its intended lifespan. It's a pre-engineered metal building. It was built around 1973. It has a wood frame addition that has significant roof leaks, moldy and falling insulation. People think that's a typo. Literally, it's failing, but it's also falling out of the ceiling. So this is not a typo. That's what's happening. Numerous other issues. So for a 53-year-old building, it served Bethel well. And the cost of a building, we're still looking, but we're expecting $1.5 to $1.8 million. It's going to go in the same location. It's going to be similar in size. But obviously there's going to be a lot more, OSHA regulations and state regs tied to this thing than we had to adhere to in 1973. So we're not looking for the Taj Mahal here. We're looking to replace, something a similar size. So pre-engineered metal building is what we're looking for. So I just want everybody to know. So once we do that, so we'll be going out for a bond vote for that. We feel like the timing is right for that, A, because things falling apart. And B, in 2028, we'll be making our last bond payment on the Church Street Bridge. And in 2031, we'll be making our last bond payment on remodeling the town hall. While these two payments will not cover the full amount of the bond vote, they will offset the payment by over about $55,000. So, so we are trying to be obviously responsible about the debt service. There's going to be another water project, most likely in 2027. We currently anticipate that project to be around $1 million. I don't think you can do anything for less than $1 million anymore. I swear to God. The project will take place between the bottom of Christian Hill and Dandelion Acres. Approximately 1,600 feet of existing galvanized water line that needs to be replaced. Also include an estimated 15 new service lines. And obviously, we're working with the state of Vermont to try to do what we've done in the past, which is to receive some galvanized lead subsidy to reduce the amount of the bond. So over the last 5 years, Bethel has received over $3.2 million in grants. And that does not include FEMA or the forgiveness provided to us by the state for our water projects. So at this time, grants are our best source of non-tax revenue. And some grants require matching funds, but generally only 10 to 20%. But that's where you'll see us using the capital funds, capital road funds. It's for the match. A lot of times you'll see that. So proposed 2.09 increase over last year includes work planned for the future and still includes over $100,000 in appropriations to 20 human services organizations. I'm not including WARVA in this number. Okay, that's separate. Since local tax revenues make up 84% of our town revenues, every additional increased appropriation comes at a cost to everyone who lives in Bethel. The hardest hit are those with fixed and or lower incomes. While the select board and I realize the value nonprofits serve in our community, we are asking that individuals with the means to do so support these agencies with personal contributions rather than leveraging the municipality's ability to levy taxes on everyone. We recognize the spirit of compassion that's driven these appropriations in the past and ask the people of Bethel to consider their struggling neighbors before increasing appropriations that are not infrastructure related. And I really thought it might be helpful to quantify this because that's the way my brain works. So the $100,000 a year that we're doing would actually be enough to cover a 30-year bond payment to build a $1.7 million town garage. So I'm just saying, for me, that's how my brain works. So the big change that you're going to see at town meeting this year is when you see the warning. The select board has combined all the articles really into one where for the budget where so shall the voters authorize total fund expenditures for operating expenses of 3.3, which 2.7 shall be raised by taxes and non-tax revenue. So all the articles are in there. WARV is in there. The food shelf is in there. The library is in there. Tri-Valley Transit's in there. So that's just so you know, it looks different than last year. We usually vote on those individually, but not this year. And then the other 4 articles are about asking voters for permission to transfer money from the undesignated fund balance to purchase something. And that's not an increase in taxes. That just utilizes our undesignated fund balance in what we feel is just some things that we're just unable to afford at this time. So it makes a good use of the money. So I don't know if anybody has any questions on the budget summary. Ellie?
I'm Ellie Griffin from the Recreation Committee, and I just have I'm just confused about 2 things in the town report. It says under page 14, under expenses, under the Recreation Facility Improvement Fund, it says that we had expenses of 989 expenses because of fundraising expenses.
Yep.
I don't remember the committee because we did several fundraising last year, and I don't remember spending money to do our fundraisings. And I was just curious, is there a detail? Okay, that would be helpful because I'm just confused about because we work hard on our fundraising and not to have. There's also, fundraising income. So there's great money, right? I know, but it's yeah. So how do we get expensive if we were fundraising? So I appreciate getting more detail on that. And also, I noticed, and this is my first year of noticing it, that under the recreation budget, the last line is for mileage. And I looked at other town reports, and mileage was never in our recreation budget until this town report of 2021, and I was curious about the mileage.
Sure, it's just a clarification. I think we always use other as kind of a catch-all.
Yeah.
We just wanted to be more transparent, that a lot of times it's used for mileage. Whether we have lifeguards going to White River or Lebanon to buy supplies, or whether one of us is wanting to, we've had to buy like tablets, so we've had to go somewhere. So we're just trying to be a little more transparent that the 250 is generally used for mileage. So
Okay,
that's all.
thank you for answering my question.
I'll email that to you tomorrow, Wednesday, Ellie. Absolutely. So is there? Did you, she raised her hand. Did you?
Do you want, can you come up to the microphone? Otherwise, people online can't hear.
Yeah, just let me go.
Interested. My question is the Ellie's question. If Ellie's gonna get emailed the outline for the expenses, will that description also go in the minutes of the meeting?
I can, sure.
Great, that way the rest of us can do it. Thank you.
Gene Cross, Bethel. I'm expressing once again concern about the library and the food shelf. First, the library does not have money that it can spend for its operating expenses. The money that it has is an endowment. That is only the interest on that endowment can be spent. So they don't have the funds that I was told at the last meeting they had that they can put into operating. And their request is for operating expenses. It is not to build the endowment. So I would respectfully suggest that reduction in what they had asked is perhaps based on a misunderstanding of the funds that they have. Regarding the food shelf, the food shelf is, and by the way, I am a donor to the food shelf, so I take seriously what you have said to us about citizens ponying up and doing their fair share. I think the reduction from what the food shelf requested, again, is that they requested that because that's what they judged they needed from this town. They serve many towns, and many towns, town budgets are having to deal with requests. Combined, the $6,500 that you have not given to the library and the food shelf is less than 1/2 of 1% of the total budget for the town of Bethel. It means nothing in terms of the taxpayers. That 1/2 of 1% increase in taxes isn't going to amount to a hill of beans for anybody. And I just believe that there are other places in human services. For example, there's a $6,000 increase in human services for youth sports. I appreciate that, and I recognize that that's an important place for us to be putting our money. I do believe that the long-standing library that this town, the services it provides, and the services provided by the food shelf are not simply charity. They are our town's effort to ensure food security and, quote, entertainment or the arts for community members. And that makes for a better, more well-rounded community in the long run. I would respectfully, and I will, at the town meeting, I'll suggest that those two items be restored to what they had requested.
There you go. And that's it. I mean, you know that now that the budget's gone, it's been approved. So we're right now it's up to the voters. So there you go. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything on the budget that Trish just talked about? Chris?
You may already have it or not, but I want to request, what do we have at Chris Jarvis? What's your name? Oh, Harry, that's right. So what is our current undesignated fund balance as of June 30th, 2025?
Yep.
And after these proposed three articles, if you are voted in, what would the then remainder of the undesignated fund balance? And the only reason I ask that is, well, years ago when I was on the board, because to say undesignated fund balance was a joke back then, because we didn't have any money. We borrowed money all the time, so it's actually nice to have money in our checkbook. However, we were told by auditors, 8-10 years ago, that a town of our size should have $300,000 or $400,000 at all times in our checkbook, so that we would not have to worry about short-term financing.
There's $2 million right now, and I thought I had the number here in the book, but I can't remember where. So we will have money left. Exactly. We wrote, I don't remember if you were on the board at the time, you may have been, Chris, I forgot, that we wrote an undesignated fund balance policy. So yes, we have definitely taken Fred Duplessis, was the auditor at the time, his advice. And so absolutely, there will still be money left in the undesignated fund balance. We're not blowing it all. Yeah, so absolutely, I understand what you're coming
Okay,
from.
yep, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Anyone else? All right.
Just where would we find that?
No, I'd have to look because I can't remember. I could have sworn we wrote this a month ago. So now I can't remember, Dana. But I feel like it was in here, but I can't remember, Dana. So I'll have to find out and then I'll know for town meeting. How's that? But thank you. Undesignated fund balance. Oh, see, bye, Jiminy. Not complete. I haven't completely lost it yet. Okay. Yep. All right, there you go, 2.2. But but I can have a better breakdown for town meeting. So but thank you.
All right. We are now on to the Tier 1B municipal request form that was discussed last week, and Kevin Geiger was here to answer questions that folks had, and it was tabled for this week for a vote.
Yep, so I did what I said I was gonna do. I went around and looked at all the borders of it, and I did send a couple questions that I had to Kevin Geiger about some of the borders. One was saying there was no municipal infrastructure on South Main Street, which there is. So I kind of let him know from what point to what point, and then message him about, a couple other questions which he addressed. And the planning commission didn't make the packet, but we did receive a nice letter from Tina, the chair, saying that the PC reviewed and discussed the Tier 1B conditions, and that the planning commission endorses Bethel opting to accept the 1B designation. And then she goes on to talk about, that the Bethel Town Center and East Bethel Hamlet are ideal areas for increasing housing stock while conserving our backcountry. So basically, in a nutshell, if you weren't here last meeting, the Tier 1B removes Act 250 requirements from specific areas of Bethel, which is nice. Basically, they still have to adhere to all of our zoning regulations. They still have to adhere to all of the state water sewer regulations, but it does make I believe there's 10 daunting criteria perhaps for Act 250, so it does make it a little bit easier. So so that's really the situation. So I talked to Kevin Geiger, actually sent him another note today. So And they said that's gonna be a little bit fluid, so with the mapping, that drafts are gonna come in and changes gonna happen, so. He did send the tier 1B municipal request form that was in your packet. And what we'll be needing is a motion for the chair to sign the municipal request.
All those in favor?
It's just you, Jed. I'll buy your lonesome.
Okay,
So,
and next up,
oh, it's you. I was like, what is? That's funny.
is adoption of the updated town road and bridge standards by, V-Trans and A&F. Last updated June 2nd, 2019.
So that was in your packet last time too, and I think Ben was just needed a little more time, he said, to get through it all. So, really, so the state obviously sets the standard, but it is nice that they adopted it. This is something that comes into play with FEMA, as well as for grants. So we have to have adopted the standards, obviously, to get grant money, and also FEMA takes a look at this as well. So the town road and bridge standards are laid out here. And then it kind of rolls, and it'll be a separate motion, but the certification of compliance for town road and bridge standards, basically swearing that, yes, you adopted them and you're swearing you did it over here. So you'll just need a motion to adopt, and then we'll pass around for signatures. Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
So you just need to sign right down here at the bottom. Please.
And
It's right here. You're welcome. There you go. Just need to sign right down here.
And next up, we have the annual adoption of certification of compliance for the town road and bridge standards and network inventory. Do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor? Any discussion? Okay. All right,
You got bigger space this time to sign.
now on to grant management policy updated.
So I think, guys, we got an email from Ben, he read all, said he was in favor, but it's basically a rewrite. I didn't give you the old one because it's all new, so. There's that, thank you. So I don't know if you have any questions on the grant management policy? Spelling errors, anything like that we missed?
It looked good to me.
Okay.
All we need is a motion.
Motion to adopt. Second.
All in favor? All right. And now we move on to the updated community cash handling policy.
Anybody has any questions on that one? Sorry, it's fine. Sorry. Questions, comments, spelling errors? Yeah, we did, yep, so now it's just the policy.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Finding your life on me tonight.
Opposed? Lots of paperwork tonight.
Mhm. See, people think you just like do one thing, you actually solved plenty of things at once.
You're done.
Thank you. Denise, if you can sign that.
All right, and I'll finish signing this and then we'll move on.
Thank you. So you want me to give a little brief?
Give a little,
Okay, so the next thing is, Denise, done with full discussion of information in the packet. So just so everybody knows, let's be clear about this from the get-go. This is just information. People are asking for more information. So Dietrich Feeney had been the pool director for multiple years. So she kind of sat down for us and broke out this list of things so everybody could understand what we're dealing with. We've been talking about it, at the select board meetings for a while, but people may not fully understand it. So what Dietrich did was type up a list for us. So she's going to kind of go over that list. She's the one who's managed the pool for the last several years, so she understands it better than me or anybody else. So this is not a vote on the future of the pool. This is nothing. This is really just us trying to get information out. That's all. Just so everybody knows this is not, a big vote. So that's really it, just trying to get information. So.
So Dietrich Feeney, and as Therese said, I've been kind of managing the pool since 2017. Last year wasn't the director, but still was responsible for opening the pool, getting it ready for the season, helping with staff and then being a problem solver throughout the season and then helping with the closing of the pool. So like Therese said, I put together this piece of paper with just really basic bullet points of problems that have been problems since I was director, challenges to the functionality of the pool, problems that we're facing, and these are not new. And basically what we've been doing is applying Band-Aids to a lot of these problems for years. So hopefully some of this information will help us to make make good decisions based on facts, not just emotion. So since the installation in 1991 of the fiberglass, it requires yearly repair and maintenance. Fiberglass is floating over an asphalt base. And so there's a hollow space between the fiberglass and the asphalt that has shaped the pool. That fiberglass, since installation, every single year requires Mr. Larry Pettit and then his son Rick to come and fix and repair cracks, holes to the fiberglass. It peels and cracks every single year. So that is not something new. Our fiberglass man, Mr. Pettit, a good friend of mine, has since retired, and he is the last person who does fiberglass pools of our kind. He has done many of the pools in the state of Vermont, and so those pools are in the same boat we are in. No one to repair fiberglass in the future. When water gets under the fiberglass, it creates large bubbles. And then that water flows to the deep end. That fiberglass, when the fiberglass bubbles, it cracks and it breaks under the weight of patrons during the season, and also fluctuates with the temperature. So in order to preserve the pool, the returns, the skin baskets, basically the circulatory system of the pool, it has to be drained every fall down below the returns. That is to protect that circulatory system from breaking, freezing and cracking and breaking in the winter. However, there's a problem with that because then it leaves a large part of that fiberglass unweighted and compromised. So a really large section of the shallow end. New concrete surfacing that was put around the pool shallow end last year to try to help solve the problem of water getting under the fiberglass heaved and buckled, and the extent of the damage is unknown until the snow melts this spring. The plumbing. Plumbing around the majority of the pool, particularly, most especially the deep end, dates back to the 1970s. To give you a little perspective, last year when we turned the water on to the system of the pool, it took over 20 minutes for water to start coming out of the returns. That's problematic. And I was speed dialing our utility director, Richard, saying, where's the water? Where's the water? This suggests that there's underground leaks and or blockages in the plumbing, which is not a surprise. The surprise was that it took 20 minutes for the water to get to the pool this last year. There are 15 pool returns. 8 have decent water flow. 2 barely a trickle, and 4 don't work at all. It takes roughly 170 hours to fill the pool through the pump system. And unfortunately, these returns can't be replaced because they are molded into the fiberglass. There are 10 skim baskets. Again, this is all part of the circulatory, moving the water through the pool, into the filtration system, back into the pool. 3 of those skim baskets haven't worked at all since I've been director. 2 are subpar, meaning 5K the load of filtering the entire pool, putting a massive drain on the pump system. This has been a real concern to our plumber. And every year he says, Deirdre, when are we going to get this system fixed? And I said, don't ask me. So those can't be replaced either because they too are molded into the fiberglass. The drain in the deep end was sealed prior to 2017. I tried to trace a date to that. There's no recorded date to my knowledge. Water still seeps around that drain, attributing to daily water loss. The outdoor shower can't be used at all. Now, those of you who used to go to the old pool, there was a really fun little shower system, and those guards would say, shit, before you got in the pool. We can't do that now because that shower, there's no drain, and that shower water flows right into the pool. Kind of defeats the purpose of showering before getting into the pool. The bathroom showers have not been used since 2018. There are no bathroom floor drains. So you can figure out what that means. Chlorine. The pool uses liquid chlorine, which enters the pool through the returns, which are situated only in the deep end. So no chlorine has ever entered the pool into the shallow end except through water movement. So as you can imagine, this creates a real problem for chlorine management. The chlorine tank is in the same room as the pump system. So a lot of these things don't mean anything to probably the most of you, but the filter tank, the backflow preventers, the pressure reducer regulators, the water meters, the pump motor, the start-stop and emergency control system, and panels, and the chlorine gauges, they're all corroding. Because chlorine gases are causing rust and corrosion problems to the entire system, because the chlorine holding tank is in the same room as all of those inner workings. The pump motor had to be replaced in June of 2023, and other parts of the system have to be replaced on a fairly regular basis. The chlorine tank needs to be moved to a new building, which we would have to build in order to correct that issue. Other facility issues, the stair railings. For the stairs, the only stairs that we have in the pool that go into the shallow end, they need to be replaced and require new grounding. The deep end ladders were replaced last year, thanks to a grant that I applied for, but they need new ground wires. And the problem with both of these is that the ground wires are in the asphalt concrete, which would require a major excavation to then run new ground wires. Each year, more asphalt breaks up around the deep end. Grass and weeds are growing up between the fiberglass and concrete edge around the deep end, which is compromising the fiberglass even more. The diving board under the carriage and base is corroded. And the lap lane hooks have corroded. These lap lane hooks are also embedded in the fiberglass. And so we had to do some real quick thinking last year because some of them broke finally from all the rust. And so new hooks were attached outside of the pool into the concrete. But that's just a temporary solution. Pool staff. This is a tough one. And as you can see, the numbers here are pretty self-explanatory. What I want to spend a minute explaining is the difference between lifeguards, WSI. So water safety instructors, WSI, don't have to be lifeguard certified in order to teach swim lessons. However, they cannot help us guard because they don't have guarding. Since 2018, a lot of the staff members were recruited by me because I had an advantage. I had teenage children and young adult children still living at home. I knew all their friends, siblings of their friends, and community members who I knew that were their ages that were looking for first jobs, and I recruited a lot of those kids to work at the pool. And they stayed on for several years. A lot of them worked right for anywhere between 5 and 8 years. So they really gave a lot to the pool. We need a minimum of 10 guards. 12 guards is ideal. Again, these are young people. A lot of them are 15, 16, 17-year-olds. They're still living at home. They're high school kids. Their parents want to go away on summer vacations. They have doctor's appointments. They have college tours. And so we need flexibility. And in order to staff our program, which we bring in a lot of One Planet programs, and we have a lot of groups that come, we really need 10 to 12 lifeguards in order to manage a 9 a.m. to 6, 7 p.m. Friday nights, 8 p.m. Saturdays schedule. We need 2 head lifeguards. Head lifeguards are not only lifeguards, but they're water safety instructor certified, and they are lifeguard management certified. And junior guards, they can start at age 15, and we always rely on junior guards to help rebuild the program. Minimum of WSI guards would be 4, 6 would be best. We teach all levels of American Red Cross swim lessons from parent, child, preschool, aquatics, level 1, all the way up through 3 levels of level 6. It's a lot of classes. And it's a lot of strain on the instructors, most of which also then guard throughout the day. Water safety instructor courses are becoming almost impossible to find. American Red Cross requires that instructor trainers, so these are people that are very specially certified to certify lifeguards in WSI. They are becoming very hard to find, and the American Red Cross has made it even more difficult for those instructor trainers because they have said that you now have to have a minimum of 5 people enrolled in a course in order to hold the course. So if you have 3 very eager young people or not so young people that want to take the course, but they don't have 5, American Red Cross says you can't hold the course. So that is, we have no control over that. Bethel guards desiring WSI training have had to travel as far as Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire to find WSI courses. The only known course that I have been aware of for the last few years, and I even looked just this past week to see CCBA in Lebanon has one certified WSI instructor trainer, and she usually offers one WSI course each spring. And that's if she has 5 enrollees. Our alumni guides, each with 5 to 8 years experience working at the Bethel pool, have retired, now leaving a huge gap in experienced lifeguards in WSI. So that's the information that I wanted to provide. I don't,
Wait, oh, hold on. Do you folks have any questions for Dietrich before we open it up to?
Yeah.
No, you're all good? Okay.
Thank you.
And when we open it up for questioning, I have my timer set. There are a lot of people here. So it's going to be 3 minutes. And I know kind of double dipping until, if at all, at least until everybody has a chance to share, because there are a lot of people here. So,
Oh, wait, did you have a question for Dietrich? Oh, wait, Dana has a question for you.
yes, I do. And so I provided these numbers to the select board several weeks ago. Since 2018, the number of season passes, first I want to just clarify that every family that comes to the pool has to sign, has to fill out enrollment form, a family pass form, and then health forms. And as soon as the pool season is over, I shred all of that information. It's nothing that we store. But I do keep information like how many weeks we were open, the number of guards, the number of groups that access the pool, and how many times they use the pool, and then season pass numbers. So since 2018, in 2018, we sold 72 season passes, 2019, 76, 2020, of course, was the year of no pool. 2021, because people were still very leery about gathering, we only sold 28 season passes. 2022, 46 season passes, 23, 52, 2024, 47, and 2025, 44.
Dietrich, can I ask you a question? The last couple of years, do you have a breakdown of resident and non-resident?
Again, I didn't keep that information because I shred it, but it is, we have a majority of our pool attendees come from Stockbridge, Rochester, Tunbridge, Chelsea, South Royalton, Sharon, and Randolph. We don't have a huge an influx of Bethel residents using the pool.
Oh, Joe, can you come up to the mic, because otherwise questions can't be heard.
People on Zoom can't hear you.
So my name is Joseph Strain. I live in Bethel Village. I just had a question. You said there were no fiberglass repairmen who work on our type of pool. Is that in the state of Vermont or regionally?
Rick had tried to prepare us for the last few years that there are none that he is aware of.
Regionally or in Vermont?
Outside of Vermont and beyond.
Yeah, we could be in New England, Joe. We were taking it as that, so. He came last year from Hawaii just to fix it.
Just to fix our pool. Yeah, one in Woodstock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God bless him.
Go ahead.
Wait.
Hi, Ellie Griffin Recreation Committee, and I want to thank the select board for giving this information, because it is important to have this information, and I can't thank Deidre enough for all of her hard work. But I have to give some history background. that in the summer of 2010, the town had a Wickham High School math teacher as the pool director, and he was concerned about the pool, the future maintenance. So at the town meeting of 2011, we put on the warning, it's in your town report, that, and he spoke that meeting on the needs of the pool, the future of the pool, the needs of the pool, maintenance of the pool, the future of the pool. So at that meeting, the townspeople said it's important to have the pool, a future of the pool, and they decided to start an improvement fund. The improvement fund to make sure that pool would be getting repairs every year, and there would be funds to repair the pool every year. And that first year, it was 12,000. So that's what the improvement fund was initially, and it's been made to do that. I can understand that the concern that these repairs, I don't know why these repairs haven't been made or whatever, and especially in answer to Deidre saying about the bathroom drains in whatever, that I'm not going to go into past administration follow-ups, but we had a beautiful new pool house, and it was finished the end of June, and July 1st, it was open for use. On July 1st, 2016, everybody discovered no drains in the bathroom. Now, who does that? So that has been a problem since July 1st, 2016, and I don't know why it's never been fixed. But anyway, so it would be nice if we can solve these problems. If there could be some way to either get a new pool or solve problems, if it's not on just one individual, a wonderful individual like Deidre to solve these problems, but we have experts in our community that I think that if we're working together, there are a lot of people willing to fund this, a lot of people to work on this as a group. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. So, right, I think, yes, here comes.
Hi, my name is Bryce Homer. I'm a father of two in the town, pretty young. First off, I want to thank you for both putting this report together as well as the pool. I think we've had a lot of really good memories at the pool thus far. The big question I had for you is concerning the massive list of issues that you put together. Which are the burning top 3 or 4? I mean, it seems like there's a lot of them that are really intense, and I'm trying to digest all the information. I'm curious as to, in your opinion, which are the most burning and most pressing for the continued resilience and development of the pool. Thank you.
You can only pick 4.
One word covers a lot. Well, I think really what I gave you really was it. I mean, we have 3 very alumni guards here, and that will be kind of shy, but 8 years, 9 years, 6 or 7 years. And we've had a lot of conversations. The pool means a lot to me. My kids grew up there, and I kind of poured my heart and soul into keeping it going the best I can the last 7 years. And, we said, wouldn't it be a dream to build a brand new pool for the town of Bethel? It would be a dream. It's going to be a costly dream. I made a phone call 4 years ago to the only commercial gunite pool builder in Massachusetts. He quoted me 4 years ago, $800,000 to $1 million. so back to the seasoned lifeguards here. I feel bad because I have my back to you. We've said, boy, wouldn't it be great to build a new pool? And wouldn't it be fun to work at a new pool? I think all four of us would agree, man, it'd be awesome. Our fear is we build this brand new pool and we keep putting a lot of money into saving this current pool, which is going to require a lot of money. We might have a real boost of enthusiasm for lifeguarding for a year or two because it will be new, it'll be novel. But it does not negate the fact that the American Red Cross is getting very difficult to work with. The American Red Cross recognizes that there's a massive shortage of lifeguards. The American Red Cross said has had for years a standard of 1 lifeguard for every 10 patrons. The American Red Cross has since changed that in the last year to 1 lifeguard for every 25. They understand that there's a massive shortage of lifeguards and staff. I don't know about you, but I have been in the waterfront and pool directing position for over 20 years. And I would never feel comfortable putting young people ages 15 to 21, 22. I would not feel comfortable making them responsible for 25 people for one. It is hard work. It doesn't necessarily look like hard work, you know, you're out in the sun, right? It's, you know, kids love fancy uniform, but it's hard work. It's exhausting work. It's stressful work because the lives of children and patrons are in their hands. And so, personally, you know, I have always been of the opinion you build it and they will come. I was a summer camp director for 13 years, residential, 800 kids a summer. Best job ever. But it comes with a lot of stress. And I think, you know, if we say, well, let's build a brand new pool, people will come and we'll have staff. I'm not convinced. It's getting really difficult to find staff. And so staffing is really a big issue. I think the most pressing issue for our current pool right now is 2. It's the state of the fiberglass, which we, a few years ago, under the advisement of Rick Pettit before he retired, was to let's do what we can to try to preserve the fiberglass. We did it. He also explained that it's still going to crack every year. It's still going to bulge. It's still going to have holes put in it. But this is what I can try to do for you. So fiberglass and the fact that all the plumbing that is molded into that current fiberglass is failing, those are the 2 most pressing issues. And it's going to take a lot of money. Addressing the drain in the bathroom, that is a huge problem. And I've had 2 different plumbers. Our regular plumber who helps me get the pool open every season and helps us close it every season. He and the Tracys both have said, well, we could do this, but it is going to cost a lot of money. A lot of money. And I mean tens and tens of thousands. So, because you're going to have to dig through 2 concrete platforms, because when they built the new pavilion, they just poured new concrete over the existing. So, that would be a problem.
Oh, yeah.
That answer your question?
I just want to say thank you so much for coming behind that.
She's good. She's good. I'm done. No, I just want to say something.
You're talking about the lifeguard, why are you seeing on some form of lifeguard training and stuff?
I have been posting so that we can continue to encourage people to get certified. You know, we're trying to prepare for a 2026 pool season. And so like I've done for the last 6 years is put ads out in the Herald, put ads on Front Porch Forum, put ads on the town website, on the Westport Facebook page, on the town Facebook page. I joined Handshake, which goes out to all the colleges in the state of Vermont, trying to get, recruit young people to come. So we're advertising, I've advertised for youth food director. I've advertised for lifeguards. I put out the classes that are remaining for lifeguard classes. We have 2 at CCBA and there's 4 at Upper Valley Aquatic Center that are left.
Because you said it's hard to get those classes with Red Cross, but I see on something.
Yes, the lifeguarding certification isn't as hard to find as WSI. Water safety instructor is almost impossible to find now. Yeah. I think Paul had a question.
Can you address, it's not just about the pool,
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's pools across the country. My daughter is a lifeguard and she doesn't have a job in California right now, but she frequents a pool in California and she will show up to swim with her littles and there'll be a sign on the pool. No lifeguards available, pool closed for the day. Shape has been in that mess for years. They cannot get lifeguards, even from college students right there on campus. A lot of these kids here, I'm sorry, guys. Adults, a lot of them also worked at Shape just to try to beef up the lifeguards at Shape. This is across the country problem. And last year, I even put out an advertisement. We advertised at the schools.
Yeah.
I even put out an ad last year that said, "Hey, we don't need young people. Anybody interested? Teachers that have, want a job for the summer. It'd be a great job. Looking for kind of the unconventional staff person." So it's a problem. It's not just here and not just at our pool. I've had conversations with Killington, Woodstock, Williston, Stowe. What's the name of the pool you just worked at last year? One up in Barry, Randolph. We're all in the same boat. It's getting really hard to find staff.
Do you have any interest at all?
When did I put out the Front Porch Forum? No, I haven't had any responses from the first 2 that I put out.
And the pool director is first. And obviously, we're telling people that we're going to tell people. We've had no applicants. If we do, we also need to wait till the snow falls to see what we're really dealing with. So there's that. But thank you, Dave, very much. I just want to say to let people know Bethel's not alone with this. There has been years. If you talk to any school, any municipality, everybody kicked the can down the road. Wherever they cut was infrastructure, right? Whether it was infrastructure on buildings, building maintenance, or, Bethel, of course, water, sewer. It was what people did because they were just trying to keep taxes low. So it's not just Bethel. This is everybody's done it. And you can even see it coming in Bethel, right? So you redid this beautiful town hall. There used to be a fire station. You built a fire station. We see that the town garage is kaput. And now we see it with the pool. So it's what a lot of people did. And you guys were certainly smarter than a lot of people, right? You started a fund in 2010 and that's been utilized. Really, you built a beautiful skate park. We used pool money, any money that went in and out of there. So there was money for a pool pump, there was, things like that. So you have done great things with your money over the years, but I don't think, but so don't feel like. I just want everybody to know every town did this. So yes, we need probably $1 million to build a new pool. We know realistically, we can't do that right now. The priority has to be the town garage. We have no choice. And plus we all need it to work so that we can get on with public safety. So we realize that. And we've done a $2.8 million water project. We did a $2.5 million water project. We're going to do another $1 million water project. So the need is great. And we're not saying that a pool isn't a priority. It's just can't be a priority right this minute. But, the budget is $73,000. If the pool doesn't open, hey, maybe we need $3,000 there for some the rec committee did a great kids and coffee. And so there's a little bit of money for some programming, and then maybe you just set that money aside to put towards, something else. But to me, while you're losing something, and that's emotional because you all have this wonderful attachment to the pool. Think about the opportunity too, right? What if it wasn't a pool? What if it was something else? What else could you imagine that space to be? So while it's something that we can grieve the pool in its situation right now, but I also hope that people are optimistic about the future and what it could be. So that's my spiel for that.
Gabe?
I know.
I'm a member of Bethel Fire Department and also Swift Water Rescue Thing. I've taught lessons at the pool for years, and I've been a lifeguard for years. I've been trying to retire and step away from the pool for years, but because of the lack of guard, and the lack of people who are willing to open the pool, it's been me and my family for the last 3 years. We've done all the effort to open the pool, which requires draining it, the babysitting it, the pressure washing the whole pool, you're cleaning the whole pool, you're cleaning the whole facility, you're doing everything. And that's been solely our family and the people who have tried to step away from the pool because we all have full-time jobs and we're doing other things in our life. Mm-hmm. But my most important thing that I want to touch on is safety of the pool and how that is with new guards, right? We're seasoned, experienced guards. We learn from seasoned, experienced guards. And right now, that's such a problem because we're gone. I kept getting called back to do lifeguard trainings because I ran the trainings every time that I was at the pool. The three of us here could get somebody out of the water in 1 minute and 10 seconds doing a spinal. You have to be able to do that in under. On a backboard.
Okay, thank you.
That's from the moment we get into it, they're on a backboard and out of the pool. The Red Cross says, I believe, and don't quote me, it has to be at least under 2 minutes.
Yep.
There have been every single training for the last 3 years that we weren't involved as head guards and active guards of the pool, where it's taking them 3 to 5 minutes or beyond to get somebody out of the pool. I'm touching on the quality of guards anymore, not just because you passed the lifeguarding class or WSI class doesn't make you a quality guard. And I hate to say it, but it is true. These are the people who you're wanting to watch your kids in the pool and Bethel patrons and everybody else. Don't you want the highest quality possible? Not just enough to open a pool and to see kids swimming. Because personally, I've had to deal with helping people a lot in my active daily life, and I would hate to have to help a child. And I as an experienced guard, would be able to do it, but it would not be fun. And having a 15-year-old kid who hasn't guarded at a pool at all in their life, who is young, who isn't very strong, you have to be strong to swim from the middle of the Bethel pool deep end, holding somebody up in a spinal position, all the way to the other side, and keep them flat from drawing their back and from doing all of these things. I've been the person who's been the first victim for many years. And when my head is actively still under the water and I'm able to swim, it's kind of concerning. And I've done everything that I can do to train these new guards. But I would hate to see anything go wrong with the Bethel pool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gabe.
Looks good, I guess. Ask if there's any. Oh, it's not answers. Oh, I see answers.
Care. I was involved intimately with the pool 30 years ago. I really want to say to everyone who's worked with the pool, thank you for your service. I know the dedication, I know what it takes. I was like that for 5 years when I was younger too. I feel like the community needs to just decide whether we want to continue to provide our community with the life-saving skills, giving community members the skills to save their lives. To me, that's what the pool is about. It's about, like, not just like the fire station, but they're saving lives. Teaching community members how to swim is really saving lives. So the people who have been in this for a while, they are frustrated. They know intimately what the problems are, far better than anybody else. And I feel like we need a little bit of handle on what are the problems solvable. You know, do we want to have a big think tank? Do we want to put a big effort into? Is it worth saving lives to try to really dive into this? If we got the money, would the town oversee it? If we got the money, would we look at partnering with the Red Cross in a bigger way to try to figure out what's going on? Maybe the labor just isn't there. Do you know that? But it seems to me that in big picture, it needs to start with, is it a valuable experience for the town, for all the surrounding towns, to have life-saving skills taught? And if the answer is yes, where do we go from there? And if the answer is no, who's going to fill that void? Where are all those kids going to learn how to swim? You know, being in Bethel, often just read the paper in the summer, some kid drowns, some adult drowns in the White River. I've had that, you know, that has happened a lot. So that's just my thought, because I think there's been a lot of effort. We were limping along with that pool 30 years ago with Noel. Every season is the same thing, limp along. So, but the people who have been in it so hard, I think they have an idea maybe of what's needed.
Thank you. Oh, no, you got one more.
Yeah, Rockford, Bethel Regiment, some of the seasoned yards. Yeah, the staffing is really the big thing. If it wasn't for Dutry, I probably would have been done 3 or 4 summers ago. But because of things that I've had all my life, just keeps me coming back and makes it easier. But another thing is the lack of WSI. How many summers with what, 2 WSI guards or?
Yeah. Yeah. He was.
Everything that's with me.
It's on
We've done a lot with a little. Since you're standing here, my question is, do you think people just aren't interested anymore? I mean, you're.
And working there,
I mean, do people say like, no way? Do you think it's a work ethic thing? I mean, do you have any vibe or input as to why you think people don't want to be lifeguards?
I mean, maybe it's a little bit worth that, but also, American Red Cross making it more difficult to take the path. And now Teresa, I researched 4 times now, I think.
Yeah.
And now it's gonna turn into a whole weekend thing.
Yeah.
Well, last summer I did maybe
not even 100 hours at school, not even close.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
I,
So now your recertification, even though you're a very experienced guard, with a lot of hours under your belt, it's still more difficult, is what you're saying.
right. I do have one more, I have one more year on my certification, but after
Sure. Interesting.
The WSI recertification, so I can't keep my WSI anymore because I'm not actively teaching kids. So if you don't actively teach kids every year, you will lose it. You can't. Unless you that you taught over a certain number of kids per.
So what Gabriel Feeney's in the audience and he's saying is that if you don't teach WSI every year, you'll lose your certification. So unless you teach over X amount of kids by year, but so basically that's something you'll see in the Red Cross, you know, it becomes an issue, but anyways, but thank you.
And then another thing about the stress of the job too, I was 16 my first year, and my first save was kid didn't enroll in the water, and I was probably shaking out my thing too. We didn't go in the water,
Yeah,
so they have like, if they're an unresponsive kid, I'd be torn, I'd never get over it.
yeah, yeah. And we're asking young
I
people
hope
to deal with that.
somebody else probably would, but
Yeah, and we're asking young people to do that. So that's a good point. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Very much. Hi, Danny.
Danny Dover, Bethel. I came to this really completely ignorant about the pool because we don't have kids. Never used the pool. And I'm taking it all in, and you know, I can feel the sadness of losing something, like you said, Bruce. But you're dealing with enormous staffing issues. I hear that. I hear infrastructure that's terminally ill and an enormous cost to replace it. And I'm just thinking, there are pools. There's a pool in Randolph, in BCC. There's a pool in White River Junction. So can we imagine a time when there is no pool right in Bethel, which would be just fabulous, and has been in the past.
Mm.
But a time when the community gets together and figures out how to create programs for the kids to go to those other pools
Yeah,
and learn those life-saving techniques that is a very good point.
yeah,
They're needed, but the pools are there. We're lucky to have one
yeah.
so close.
Well, we did have a nice, Joanne Wood, of course, you know, and her and I had a nice conversation, and she had provided a lot of information about Newell and his desire for young people to, you know, get lessons. And that was one of the things in my mind was to continue to honor Newell's legacy is that we work with Tri-Valley Transit and let people know when the aquatic center, or somebody else is doing lessons to try to facilitate something more. And maybe we do that in the interim until decisions are made. And, you know, right now we're just, our hands are tied, you know, financially, and there's a lot of things going on right now. It doesn't mean never. It just may mean right now. But basically, as what Dietrich said, is we're just waiting for the snow to melt to see really what we have in the spring. So who knows, right? But thank you. That's a really good point, and one that Joanne was really nice. She gave us a great history of Newell and the pool. Super interesting. So thank you.
I think you need to start thinking out of the box. It is going to be emotional for the room to food out of our town in here for however many years. But I think, I don't know what the budget for the school is, but how many family passes could we buy to send people down to the Clark Center? Getting with the Tri-County bus, find out what the schedule is. I don't see us opening the school this year. It sounds doom and gloom. Right, and I think we better think about, can we send some of these families to the aquatic centers? Their way Bethel can help pay that tax that they pay. I'm sure it's gonna be a lot cheaper than the $1 million that we're gonna spend on the pool of that. We do need to look at that town garage first. We need a facelift on that town office. I'd be embarrassed walking in that busy place.
Plan, but I think we, 10-year plan down.
I really think we can look at paying passes to the Aquatic Center for the year 2025 out of our budget. I mean, if there's some listeners teacher, we couldn't have had 20 Bethel families sign up, did we?
Oh, thank you, Joanne.
Thank you, Joanne.
This is what we like.
So, that all your One Planet programs come to this pool here too.
I know,
And so you're talking 30 or 40 kids just from the Bethel program.
yeah.
So I don't know how you're gonna transport all those kids somewhere else. So it's not just family, it impacts other programs too.
Yes, yeah, we're aware. We've talked about that. So thank you. Yeah, it's, you can stay, or no, I guess you don't have a mic. Sorry, Julie. I'm sorry.
I don't usually speak up about things, but there's several of us here who were attended last Wednesday. The meeting at the White Church with the food shelf people and that I can't remember the name of their group, other group, that are looking at issues that the townspeople have said are problems. And they were divided us into 3 groups and we kind of tried to come up with suggestions. I was at the table with Ellie and one of the big topic was finding ways to help small businesses. They can't find people to work for them.
Okay.
There was on my table was a woman who has, I can't remember her name. She has a gardening business. She can't find 15, 16-year-olds who will come and put in a day's work. It's not just the pool.
Thank you, Julie.
We need to talk to our young people.
We'll volunteer you for that. Thank you. Oh, wait, here comes Chris and then Joe's brain. You're off the Chris, Joe.
Well, I just wanted to thank the Cooney family and everybody else that has kept the, pool afloat over the years. I grew up in the town of Windsor. We didn't have a pool, but we had a pond. And I happened to live in the neighborhood just above the pond. And I always had 8 o'clock in the morning swim lessons, which was awesome, because we all know how cold the water is at 8 o'clock in the morning. But I do remember how important it was to learn how to swim, right? I mean, everybody needs to know how to swim. And so I do agree with some of the other individuals that I talked about. If you didn't have a pool, what could we do? How do we lean on a neighbor or go somewhere else to learn that vital skill? I did a little bit of research on schools. Just so that we don't feel like we're in this alone. Is back in 2010, there was 42 municipal funded outdoor pools in the state of Vermont. And as of this year, there's 15.
Okay.
15 outdoor municipal funded pools. Now there are pools like Hartford and Barry City and stuff that are inside, but inside different outside. And the reason why a lot of these either completely went out, just like ours, was a combination of can't find replacements for people to care, not just manage the pool on the guards end of things, but actually maintenance the pool, keep the pool open, due to all kinds of. There's so many different styles of pool out there that are outdated. And a lot of them went inside when they did build a new facility, went inside so that they could take away those problems that they have by exposing it to the elements every year.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share that. And then I guess I was just a little confused. I was reading through the rec committee minutes. So there was the talk about a potential sizable donation for saving the pool. I know we're talking, tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 or so dollars just to bandage the pool, and maybe $500,000 to $1 million to build something new. But I guess sizable to one person is different to the other. So we're talking about if someone just wanted to hand me a check, sizable is $1,000.
Right.
If we're talking about $1 million pool, sizable is not $1,000. So I guess that was the question for the Selectboard was, do we know what the sizable donation was? And then there was some comments at the end that left me a little confused, but a little concerned at the same time. Is that, the individual from the Bethel Recreation Committee met with a lawyer at South Florida Legal Clinic and came up with an interview with the Herald about saving the pool campaign. So I guess seems like it's a little premature because it's just talking about pool. But two, I don't know if our committee members should be seeking legal counsel to do things outside the town scope without coming to board first.
So first of all, I could tell you that the town has not accepted any money for a donation for the pool. So I can't speak to what that amount is or anything because it's not come to the town office and the rest is not going to comment on. So Joe, you had a question?
So my name again is Joe Strain. I live here in Bethel Village. I am an attorney, though I'm not the attorney that River Level.
Thank
So I do a lot of civil litigation, a lot of construction litigation, and there are a number of construction defects that are outlined throughout the course of this yellow sheet.
Sure.
In particular, the bathroom showers and the heaving in the shower end. The bathroom shower sounds like it was potentially a design defect. It's likely that the statute of limitations is told on that.
That's what we assumed because we did go in and talk to someone and it basically would have had a jackhammer through the floor and this and that. And the concrete detail, we're still working with, we're pretty sure we're gonna work that out. That's a local, that's it. Who did us a big favor, so that is, but thank you.
You could put the contact notice.
We will, and we've already talked to him. So he's come back when the snow melts too. And so just to be clear, the concrete was supposed to, the way it works, in a perfect world, it helps keep the we put it over so that it keeps the fiberglass down so the water doesn't come in and then it buckles and it's a whole thing. So don't worry, he has been put on notice.
Oh.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Gonna wrap it up.
All right.
I'm not saying any of it's gonna be fixed. He was just talking about the concrete that we have done last summer has heaved. And so we're just speaking with our contractor in the spring to see what our options are once the snow melts. Yep, sorry, Mel had his hand up. Thank you.
I was here mostly to listen, but I was hoping there was some way to keep Noel's dream going. I've heard a story from him personally.
I am.
Belonging to Rotary with him for many years and working for him actually. So anyway, that's and it kind of irritates me that the drain our building could possibly build without a floor drain. I mean,
Yeah.
Kind of wonder who
I don't
looked
know.
over the
It all the town at that time. I don't know who it was.
on the fiberglass, my first employment was with the Valley Engineering out of Agawam, Mass, and we built paper mills, and I certainly know about the chlorine issues. But anyway, there has to be somebody out there that can repair your fiberglass. You may not find them under the title of pool fiberglassing, but there are a lot of businesses that deal with that, and may not be their main thing, but
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Well, thank you. He tried to teach Dietrich, but she was having none of that.
Yeah. So fiberglass in and of itself is not watertight, so it has to be gel coated. And the gel coat is really the challenge. So last year, Rick came back from Hawaii, God bless him, and because I begged and pleaded, and he came back. And he tried to teach me how fiberglass repair and gel coat repair. But the gel coat is a beast of its own making, and it's really toxic. It's a lot of toxic chemicals. And he's like, just do this, mix this, and put this together and slap it on, and you're good to go. I didn't even get to try. So, to fix that, to do the joke, several years ago, Rick wasn't able to come, And so our utility director did fix some of the major fiberglass cracks. And maybe some of you remember, we had orange polka dots all throughout the pool that year because he's like, I can fix the fiberglass, but I don't know anything about gel coat. So the gel coat is a beast in and of itself.
And did you, before you leave, I believe it was 3 years ago, you came to the select board and it was 35,000 to have the whole thing all completely gel coated, knowing that he was gonna leave.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was the advisement he gave us at the time. The gel coat gets really, really grungy every fall, you know. It's that sparkling white that you all get to enjoy when you come to the pool. Because like Gabriel said, we spend a whole week pressure washing, scrubbing, brushing. It's labor intensive to get that gel coat to look white after all the leaves and debris have been in that pool all winter long. We, you know, if we didn't mind swimming in a brown gel coat, then we wouldn't have to do that kind of labor, but it's just not as appealing.
Thank you.
Yes, he did gel coat it, but with the understanding that it has to be cleaned every spring. As we drain the water, and if you want pressure washing it and scrubbing it, as that water's going down, you cannot get it clean. Cannot. Yes, and so just to explain how fragile the fiberglass can be is just the pressure washing itself can crack the fiberglass. And us walking on an empty pool, as we're draining the pool, we're walking on that fiberglass that is heaved all winter long with the movement. We're cracking the fiberglass. So it's a challenge. It's a real challenge.
It's a beast. She's being very polite.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's rough.
All right, thank you everyone for your, and Mr. Feeney,
Sorry, can't move on off fire chief.
Paul Feeney, I was just wondering, Chris brought up the point on that large donation. Ellie, do you have any information on that you can share? Why no comment? You're the president, you're the leader of the rec committee, you have this information, why won't you share it with the town of Bethel? Okay.
Thank you.
deal with that.
So thank you all for coming. This is great and really appreciate everybody's questions and enthusiasm, and I'm gonna throw Dana right on the fire here because we might as well, right? He's working with the planning commission and they're doing, I think you said what, 100 surveys, so he's meeting with people, not the goal. Yes, so he's working on interviews and that's part of the question too, but you know, if you have creative ideas, you know, we would love to hear that and imagining what the space could be and still obviously thinking of a way, you know, like Mel said so eloquently, is to honor renewal. So if people have ideas, you know, we certainly would love to hear them too.
Interviewed by representatives of the planning, get a hold of me and we'll set up time. Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday, the month of March, and then they get our.
There,
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you.
All right, now on to minutes and communication, the town manager's report.
Did I? No, I don't think I had one. Yeah, no, I don't think so. We're good. So right now I'm still working on creating an RFP for the salt shed. I think we're kind of got that button up, and then the pole barn, those two RFPs are gonna go out hopefully this week, Lord willing. The other RFPs that I'm working on are for there's a Gilead stabilization program, grant that we need to do, because there's some work on Gilead we need to do, a bank stabilization RFP, writing an RFP for Camp Bethel. There's a big culvert up there that we need to do. Also writing an RFP on redoing the municipal parking lot. and writing an RFP to install our fancy flashing pedestrian lights on down by Spalding Press and then the other setup here. And so a lot of RFP writing, we want to get out for spring work. The other thing is Dave keeps noticing somebody keeps just ramming into that light pole at the end of the bridge. So it's got to go away this summer. We move it or discontinue it or what, but we can't seem to keep that thing up. So there'll be a lot of key work ongoing. Obviously, we're all prepared for a town meeting, next week. So hopefully everybody can make town meeting Tuesday at 10 a.m. And if you haven't seen your town report yet, we'll bring some with us. There's some on the table. It's also on our website, so people can read town report that way.
And I'll make a plug. Do you need any more pies, Lisa?
Yeah. Okay, you need pies. Thank you.
There's a tradition of bringing pies to town meetings that started around 2014. And so we're trying to keep that tradition going. So if anybody wants to make a pie or cookies or brownies or something healthy, we're collecting coffee and tea. So you can bring that in anytime after 8:30. And then from 9 to 10, it's going to be, people can come and help themselves. And so there'll be a lot of tables with different organizations you can mill around. And but if you want to make something, I know there's crisis facing here, people that can't contribute every year, but the more the merrier. If you haven't done it yet, just bring something, and we'll have plenty of plates and we put them into the portions so that it's ready for people to grab throughout the morning and as long as that. So
I'll bring something gluten-free. How about that?
There you go.
I'll bring something gluten-free.
okay. Yeah, if you have a we'll label it and all that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
So it's RFPs, and then I did meet with today at, 10 or 10:30, had a meeting. If you remember Thriving Communities, I don't know if you remember Kevin Ivey coming and pitching that, Jed wouldn't, but you two, we were in the town office the day that everybody came from Christian Hill. Then he came in to talk to us about that grant. There's a $15,000 to $17,000 sub award. So we're going to use that money to look at the big culvert near Charlene Shepherd's. We would have lost that in July 23 flood if it hadn't been for Alex Riceberg keeping it open. Just above the Sugar Hill one. So AJ and I had agreed, and we're using that money to get, as much preliminary information as we can and have an H&H study, but that way we know in a flood that will be next, it'll go. It's just a matter of when. So at least if we have that data, then when federal highways comes, it shows that we have spent $15,000 to $17,000 on that and, moving forward with the plan. So I think that might help federal highways if they're wondering about maintenance, because that's going to be a beast. That'll be another $1 million because
You can't buy anything under $1 million.
it's a huge one. The one by Charlene Shepherd's? No, they dragged it back in place, I guess, after Irene. No, and we did look at having it. We did look at having it lined by pipeline or something like that, but that was even going to be super pricey. So again, we're just getting some preliminary, using some money. So when federal highways comes, we can show them that we have spent some money on it so that they, don't hold us against us, because they will. So really that's it I'm just writing RFPs and trying to, get stuff out. That's the town manager's.
All right, well, thank you. And we also have in here the select board minutes from 2/9/2026. Is there any revisions or spelling errors or anything anyone has noticed?
I fixed the one. Remember Ben mentioned one last time. It was supposed to be Jed, but I don't know what I had written. But I did it. So, I don't know if you have any questions or you just need a motion to adopt.
We need move to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
And in here we have other communication from the rec club, the rec committee, Warva.
Yeah, so Frank is gonna be at town meeting and so he'll be there, people have questions, and they've really come a long way. He was a great add to WARPA.
Yes,
What
he
a-
is.
He is great. So he was gonna be there as well. So I did email with him about that.
All right, is there any other business to come before the board? Seeing none,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you everyone for showing up. We
Thank
appreciate having more than 2 people here.
We're meeting again. I'm back.